back. Today's video is all about skate sharpening. This is something people have a ton of questions about. What is it? Why do we do it? How often should I sharpen my skates? And hopefully I can address all those questions today. First off, if you look at the bottom of a pair of skates, you're going to notice a channel. You look at it long ways like this. You're going to notice kind of a groove down the center. It looks like an inverted U. We actually call this the hollow. This is what we're sharpening. We're cutting out the inside of that hollow and giving ourselves an edge on each side of the skate. As we skate, the ice kind of wears down on those edges and your skates become more dull and you have less grip on the ice. Also, if you're walking around without guards on, that will dull your skates pretty quickly as well. So when we sharpen, we're actually hollowing out the inside to produce a more pointed effect on each of the side edges. Generally, you want to sharpen your skates about every 20 hours of skating. So you can kind of keep track of how much you're practicing, and then about every 20 hours, take your skates in for sharpening. Now, I know I'm guilty of going way past 20 hours of skating, but I have a pretty good idea of how much dullness I can tolerate. When I start skidding into spins or having a harder time with control, I know it's definitely time to sharpen them. If you are feeling like you don't grip into the ice as you go around an edge or make a turn, then it's a pretty good indicator that your skates need to be sharpened. But the good rule of thumb is 20 hours, so just tick off your practice time and then make sure you're making regular maintenance of your skates so you never have really, really dull skates and struggle with them. Not every skater is going to want the same hollow. That means the same depth of sharpening. So a more advanced skater like myself is going to want a really deep hollow, whereas some more beginner skaters are going to want a more shallow hollow. When you go into your pro shop and ask to get your skates sharpened, they're going to ask you what radius or what hollow you want your skates sharpened at. And they're asking for a fraction. They're asking for a 7/16 or 3/8 or a half. And you might not know what this means at all. What do those numbers mean? What they're talking about is how big of a circle are they going to use to cut into your blade. If you can imagine your blade has that U shape, they're going to take a circle and they're going to use that to cut into your blade. If you have a very large circle, it's going to be a shallow cut. If you have a very small circle, it's going to be a tight cut, making a deeper edge. So 7/8 of an inch or 3/4 of an inch are large circles. They're going to create a shallow cut. A 1/2 inch is kind of right in the middle. If you ask for 7/16 or 3/8, those are going to be a very deep cut. I personally really like a 3/8 inch cut. I like that really deep, sticky feeling where I can feel my edge get really good traction. But it takes a lot more strength to manipulate an edge that deep, so it's definitely not for everyone. Now, I actually need to get this pair of skates sharpened. It's been a little while, they're getting a bit dull, so I'm gonna take them to my local pro shop and take you along for the ride, and you can get the inside scoop on how the sharpening actually works. Hey guys, I am here at my local pro shop with Brett, our pro shop manager, and he is going to sharpen my skates today and kind of walk us through his process. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day for this.
Oh, you're welcome. Anyway, I'm Brett. I've been sharpening skates for probably about 10 years now. Been playing hockey most of my life and then kind of started sharpening figure skates about 10 years ago and just been doing it since. So
you're like an expert.
Yeah, I've done it for a while. I wouldn't say an expert, but I know what I'm doing, I guess.
I expect expert level sharpening.
Okay. You got it.
Ready? Go ahead.
So one thing that you want to look for when you're looking to get your skate sharpened is if you have these little deposits right here. Eventually these will actually form into rust, and this is from leaving your blade guards on your skates while you store them. And the water actually gets trapped between the blade guard and your blade and forms these little rust deposits. So best thing to do when you're storing your skates is to wipe off your blades when you're done and then store it with a soft cover rather than a hard guard. So what we're going to be doing is this wheel is actually dressed with a diamond tip quill right here.
Okay.
So we're going to be setting this to 3/8. Cover your ears.
Okay, so what you're doing is you're taking that diamond tip and you're running it across there, and that is shaping the wheel.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're just going to go ahead and you can make the wheel Deeper or shallower depending on what kind of sharpen that you're looking for.
Okay.
So figure skaters generally need a pretty deep hollow in there. 3/8 or 7/16 is pretty common, so we're going to go ahead and do a 3/8 for you. So we just wanted to set that wheel to 3/8 before we go.
And you were saying you want to do it really slow. Why is that?
You want to do it slow because you get a lot smoother finish on the wheel.
Okay.
And a smoother finish really transitions into a better sharpen. It makes the pattern a lot better on the blade.
Awesome. Thanks.
So what we're going to do is just mark the bottom of the blade with a black Sharpie here. And this helps me get my witness marks for where the wheel is going to be hitting the blade. And the idea is to hit it right in the middle so we get both edges of the blade even heights.
That's a problem I've felt before where I've gone out and I feel like my inside edge is gone. And
Yep.
it just slides right out from underneath me. So maybe some people don't put that on there.
Right, yeah. Sometimes, the edges might be slightly off, and so you'll be missing an edge or you'll feel some kind of a slip. So it's really important to have both edges the same heights when you're sharpening. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So a little low, so we're just going to go ahead and adjust this down. I'm going to redo it. Still a little bit low. That one's good. We're just going to go down a little bit more on the front here. Almost there. Perfect. So that's what you're looking for. You want to check it on the front and the back. So the first pass is usually the most important because you want to see if you're hitting the entire length of the blade. So right here you can see that there's a little bit of black Sharpie at the top. So I want to hit that top a little bit more so than the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and make a minor adjustment. And we're going to go ahead and resharpen. So you can see here we made that adjustment and now it's hitting the top. So at this point we're just going to sharpen until it's sharp and everything is squared up.
All right.
Now it's really important for figure skates in particular that you do not round off this back edge. You're going to come straight off the back so you don't round it off because figure skaters use that back edge a lot when they're skating. So what we're going to do now, we've sharpened it a few passes, and we need to make sure that everything is on par with the squareness. So I'm just going to check square real quick on the front and the back, making sure that the left edge and the right edge are even. It looks even in the front, and it looks even in the back. So everything is good to go. The blade's sharp now. We just need to do a few finishing passes. So the finishing pass is just a really slow and light pass, which really improves the finish and makes it a lot more of a smooth skating experience when you're on the ice. Alright, so right now what I'm doing is taking off the little microscopic burrs that form from the sharpening. So skate sharpening is a process of removing steel from the blade. So when you do that, these little burrs come on the side right here, and if you don't take them off, you'll feel like little speed bumps when you're skating out there. So we're going to do that on both edges. And the big thing you don't want to do is hit the shiny part of the blade.
Right.
So this has this dull steel right here, which is called the chrome relief. You don't want to hit the mirrored chrome right there up top, so otherwise that'll just look really bad.
Do you typically see a certain number of sharpenings in a blade, like a certain? We know that skates have a lifespan, and that is with this tempered steel down at the bottom. How many sharpenings about do people usually get out of that?
It very much determines the sharpener and what kind of machine that they're using. If you have, a really aggressive wheel and you have a heavy-handed sharpener, sometimes you could ruin a blade in, 10 to 15 sharpenings.
Okay.
These blades could probably go up to 50 sharpenings pretty easy if you have a nice soft wheel and you're using a light hand on it. So.
Okay,
yeah.
Good to know. I get asked that question a couple of times, so I thought I'd. Thanks so much for taking us through that sharpening process. I hope you guys learned a lot from it, and I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Now it's time to do the other one, right?
Yep.
Choosing the radius of a hollow for your skate sharpening can be as simple or as complicated as you want to make it. I mean, you can factor in the temperature of the ice at the rink where you skate. There's so many things that you can consider, but let's just get some basics. A beginner skater generally is great on a 1/2-inch radius. Now, if you're getting to be more competitive, you're wanting to make quick turns, and you have the strength to control a deeper edge, then you can go to something more like a 7/16 or 3/8. Those are great for competitive skaters or ice dancers, but again, it takes more strength to control a deeper edge. It takes more strength to stop with a deeper edge. So if you're struggling with a 7/16, then go back to a 1/2 and work your way up to a deeper edge. Another thing to keep in mind is if you've ever had your skates sharpened and immediately afterwards you feel like your skates are dull, then it generally means that you are wanting the feeling of a deeper radius. So if you had it sharpened at a 1/2 and it feels dull to you, I would say go up to a 7/16 and see if that feels sharp to you. Choosing a hollow is really kind of, you're going to have to play around with it and figure out what feels right. But the more you skate, the more often you have your skates sharpened, the more you're going to fine tune what you personally as a skater like. If you have your skates sharpened really last minute for a competition, sometimes you'll feel like you need to dull them down a little bit before you skate. And you can do that using a handstone, but this is something you should only do if you've had some training. So I recommend you go to your coach or go to your pro shop and ask them to handstone your blade a little bit to take the sharpness down. But if you have more time to kind of break in that sharpening, we have some things we can do out here on the ice. And I have a student of mine, Calista, here to help me. Thank you. Okay, so what I'm going to have her do is just a couple of snowplow stops here on the wall. You want to make sure both your edges are on the ice, so as you stop, you're scraping both equally. Let's see how that looks. Awesome. This way she can dull both the inside edge and the outside just a little bit so that it's easier to use the skates and not get that really sticky feeling right after a sharpening. Thanks, Calista. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. As always, please do give us a thumbs up, and I look forward to reading your comments in the section below. If you enjoyed this, please click that subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you next time.